Wow.
And so is that way of expressing yourself if you're a man? Is
I feel
that
so freeing? I'm freed.
It makes a lot of people around you maybe think, oh, this guy's making my gaydar go off. Like, is this guy gay?
Oh, and then they don't like that. Yes.
But then there's this question that I have
Yes.
about, is this man walking down the street with the swish walk and with, like, you know, the sing-song voice and everything like that, is that really about who he's attracted to, or is that how
he likes to express himself? Yes. I didn't get attracted to anybody.
Expressing gender.
I was expressing. And so what gender am I expressing? I'm expressing, that's more feminine, right?
Feminine, whatever.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Good. Oh, that feels so free.
So I guess there's this good nubbly question about, is that about sexual orientation, or is that about gender expression?
Just gender expression. Well, I should say gender. It's hard to go up. How do you do? You would be gender.
Try it. Okay, we're gonna coach you now.
Okay, tell me. Gender expression. No, that's I'm just. That's
now you
not
sound
good.
like you're singing a musical.
Yes,
which would be fine.
So how do you show me, or how does it sound?
I think it actually comes when you move more, but like gender expression.
Oh, gender.
Or like talk.
I feel so. Oh, I like having. Oh, I do. And feel this is very freeing. I'm not sure I'm allowed to do this, but this is very freeing. Okay, I getting it now. Get it all. You know. Okay, so that has nothing to do with me being attracted to you.
I don't know.
No, it didn't.
Okay.
It was just woo. Okay, so that's what you're saying. That's my gender expression is if I'm expressing myself as a woman, or aha. Whatever that was, let's get rid of him.
Michael's the drama.
Take him down, folks. Take that person in Mikey down. And even calling himself Mikey is too. Mike. My name is Mike.
Because there's gender wrapped up in how you use nicknames.
Yes.
Full names too. Right.
Yes.
Right. Because
and expressing myself with strength.
So, okay, I'm not going to get into the sexism involved here.
Okay.
Like, why do men get to do this and women have to do that or whatever?
Yes, okay. I probably just violated all kinds of expressed all kinds of stereotypes. Don't pay attention to the man in the blue sweater. The guy in the thing is, he's a therapist. Look, I told you. Look there. Look, there's a manly symbol. Oh, wow.
Now you're gonna. Well. Michael, now who's gonna get flamed for this, right?
Okay.
So I guess one of the things that we were talking about before, which really seemed to get your goat,
yes,
was my statement of there are more than two genders in the world. And that really got you bug-eyed, like it's doing now.
I was doing good for a while. I can't even imitate this.
No, you
more
don't
than two.
Have to. You don't have to embody.
I was doing great with the man. And, woo! Now there's a third. I look forward to it. When is the third?
Did I say three?
Not even three. There's more.
More than two. So I guess what I was trying to suggest with that was just like and pros and cons to deconstructing all this stuff, right? Like we took sexual orientation, and I suggested like you can sort of make it into many factors, and it can get more complicated, right? It can get too complicated. It can be not that useful when it gets that complicated.
Yes,
right?
So far it's been very useful.
But it can be useful.
Yes.
And similarly, in terms of gender, you can do the same thing. All right? Most people presume there are men and there are women in the world, and that's about it.
But neuter, I just thought I could be neuter.
Sure. I mean, there's different ways of people living gender in the world.
I am beyond sex. Doesn't interest me anymore.
Who said it was about sex?
Oh,
does gender have anything to do with sex?
I'm beyond man. I beyond man and woman. Nietzsche wrote a book called.
Right, there we go. Men and women.
What did he call it?
That's the gender part.
I'm beyond man and woman. I no longer need either.
But then it can be about. I mean, some people just express themselves naturally about being like less masculine and less feminine, and then there are people who express themselves as being like really especially masculine and especially feminine, you know, and there's sort of different ways that can be. And then honestly, it can also be about other things besides how you express yourself. You know, there are folks who it's not just about whether I have an X and a Y chromosome, and you know, my female friends tend to have an X and an X chromosome. There are people who their biology is sort of more complicated than the usual. Like it doesn't line up all masculine or all male or all female. And an umbrella term which some people feel is not the best term for it, but I'm struggling to find a better one. But a lot of these folks where it doesn't quite line up in terms of body somatic sex is these folks are intersex. And there are
I like it.
well over 100 ways of being intersex.
Wow. 10
Many.
times 10.
And it has to do with genetics and chromosomes. It has to do with like hormones and production and hormone sensitivity for the receptors of those hormones in the body. It has to do with hormone exposure when this person was like a tiny fetus in utero, you know, when gender and sex tends to be determined.
Yes.
It's wonderfully complicated. And actually, I will say that a lot of the intersex people that I have met with and talked with, they really feel like it's important for them, for the presence and reality of intersex people to be more visible in the world. Because, for example, if someone is born with ambiguous genitalia, you know, let's say like I'm born as a baby and it looks like it's hard for the doctors to tell, you know, like my pediatrician who just delivered me.
Yes.
Do I have a small penis or a big clitoris? I'm allowed to say that on TV?
You've said it.
Okay,
it's
I said it.
Now. If you want to blame him,
all right,
there
great,
is.
thanks. Producers
So
say it's okay.
there's a big something. Yes. Anyway.
So you know, like it's hard to tell what, you know, whether this little baby is a boy or a girl, and a lot of doctors can't think outside of boy or girl boxes. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of these doctors will actually say, we have to make a decision now while this kid is little, and they'll actually do surgery on these kids. And that was and for many doctors still is standard practice. And there are a lot of these kids who have grown up to being adults, and at this point they feel like that was the wrong decision.
Oh, wow.
I should have been allowed to make that decision myself, or maybe like they identify as being sort of on this end of the sex spectrum, and the doctor sent them in this direction for their body, and the kids grew up sort of in the wrong body for their whole childhood.
Yes.
And so a lot of intersex folks that I've met have been saying, educate people, especially expectant parents, right? So that if by chance their kids are born in a way that confuses the doctor, then the parents don't just roll over when the doctor says, we have to make a decision. The parents can actually say, wait, I want to talk about this. Maybe I want my kid to grow up the way that they were created. You know, and they can decide later, or I'll support them however they are.
That we need a better word by side, inter, right? I want to be intersex.
Right. So I just want, that's a plug for visibility of intersex folks.
Yes.
But it's also to say that gender is way more complicated. That's biological sex. That's way more complicated than man or woman.
Now, biological sex is different than gender. Gender is how we express ourselves, right? Is that true?
How you feel about yourself, how you express yourself.
Yes, I'm learning. He's a very good teacher. I'm getting it down.
It's hard to get this all
and
into a half-hour show.
It's only 27 minutes. He's going to be disappointed in the last 3. That and it could change any moment, right? As I was doing, my gender could be...
Your gender expression.
Gender expression could be feminine. I could be thinking of myself as feminine. I could be thinking of myself as masculine. Or I could think of myself as inter. Now,
you're messing with some categories.
Oh, I'm not.
When I talk about intersex, that's more about like the way that your biology and body.
My biology. Is. Oh, I see. Right. I understand. So, but because you still express yourself only in 2, but you can express yourself many ways. Yes.
Right. That's right.
Oh.
There's a great sort of gender activist. I'll actually use that word for this person named Kate Bornstein. I don't know if any of you have heard of Kate Bornstein. She's like a remarkable sort of like gender experimenter, and she's very articulate about these things. She's worth looking up too. She's written some good books, and sometimes goes on the road and does tours about these issues.
Kate Bornstein.
Kate Bornstein.
Yes.
Kate. And Bornstein, I guess the way it sounds, Bornstein.
These are all freeing, though, because I think that's true of many of us, but we push it away.
And there's only and like the way that I was brought up is like there's one way to be a man, like I have.
Oh, even in your generation, wow.
Sure. Well, and it's maybe your parents are the most liberated in the world, but at the same time, like what are the messages that are sort of like that we're bombarded with every day kind of thing. So and there are a lot of folks who I work with as a therapist who just don't feel like they fit these relatively simple and straightjacketing categories.
So how would we help?
They want to figure it out
themselves.
If
I came to you, how would you help people like me? Could old people come to you?
Yeah. There are people who are 50s, 60s, 70s, you know, who figure this stuff out or finally feel like they can explore it and feel safe about looking into it.
So for our last 2.5 minutes,
Safe space.
a safe space for you?
No. I'm saying like therapy about this kind of stuff is partly about safe space for people to
safe space
bring their full self.
So if some young person came,
Mm-hmm.
what would they say, and how could you help them? In 2 minutes, you can tell us. But he can do this. Watch.
No pressure, right?
Yes.
Oh gosh, I don't know. I mean,
you just wasted another 15 seconds and being calm.
Shut up. So I mean, there are. I run a group for bisexual and bi-curious men, which is a free group run by Fenway Community Health, for example. And there are a lot of men who come there who say, I don't really know. I always thought of myself as being, you know, totally straight or totally gay or whatever, and but I'm really curious, and I'm looking to reach out to other people and hear other people's stories, you know, and I don't know what this means for me, and I haven't told anybody else. I mean, oftentimes, like, there's this whole issue of when you're in a repressive culture, how do you start to explore this stuff?
And
with
they
somebody
found
else?
it. And they found it.
You need someone you
they
can
did
tell.
find it. What is this? This is the Fenway. What is it again?
Oh, Fenway Community Health Center. It's in Boston.
Yes.
On Boylston Street, and I run the group. It is free. It's the second Tuesday of every month from 7 to 9 p.m. Second Tuesday of every month from 7 to 9 p.m.
Fenway Community Health Center.
Fenway Community Health.
And they come and they explore. Wow, and they hear about it somehow.
It's a drop-in group for bisexual and bi-curious men. This is a single gender, but you know, men can be defined broadly.
Mm-hmm.
There are other bisexuality drop-in groups in the city for women and for co-ed groups as well.
It must
so those
be so
exist.
freeing because we don't have to put ourselves down for all these feelings and even ways of expressing them.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I don't know about you. If you know who you are now, you haven't been paying attention.
That's catchy. I like it.
Okay,
if we haven't confused you enough.
Okay,
that wasn't my intention.
Show you the Ron Hospice. That's Charlie Strauss. 2 different business cards. He's bi as far as his cards go. He's going to say goodbye in the next 8 seconds. 7.
Thank you so much. I hope you learned something.
Thank you very much, whoever you are.
Thank you, Michael.
Oh, good. Well, that was...